office. Welcome. Today we have a special guest here with us. Please welcome Kirsten McKeon, here to talk with us on the release of 2 new video games that are on the market.
Hey Rachel, it's nice to be back.
So what do you have for us today on the show? Any sneak peeks?
Well, actually, I will give you the intel on the release of 2 very hot, very different games. The first that we have is called The Stanley Parable, and the second is called Undertale. As I said, they are both very different in the way they're played and the way we interact with them.
Interesting. Is there anything you want to say or explain first to the non-gamers out there before going into detail about these 2 games?
Well, video games are played off 3 things. Ethos, which is the credibility and the trust that we put in the games. Pathos, which is played on your emotions. And Logos is the logic behind the game, which gives it the credibility. If you pay close attention, you will be able to tell how they affect you as the audience and the game. So if you're wondering about the world of video gaming, I'd pick up the book Understanding Video Games. It is a big help in understanding the complicated world of video games. Another book I'd like to mention is by the well-known author James Paul G. He wrote Why Video Games Are Good for Your Soul, and it has some interesting points that I'd like to speak about.
Tell us more about G's books. How are these games, in fact, actually good for your soul?
Well, actually, it is all about the learning that goes on while playing a new game. Learning the ways, I guess. You are put in a completely new atmosphere with whatever it is it may or may not give you, whether it be the real world or not. You learn how to live in this world and figure out what it is you need to survive and how to obtain your goal. You learn new skills, and in a way, without even knowing it, you are gladly accepting the responsibility of learning new things every day, which turns out is one of G's main points.
Why does he think learning this way is better?
Today, students, and some adults actually, fear learning and drag their feet when you learn. Learning in a classroom to kids is just something they have to do, when in turn, learning should be fun. We are programmed to figure out puzzles and new skills, and it should be fun for us, but we associate it with today's academia system, and we are turned away.
I've never thought about it like that before, but that really brings some insight. Wow.
Now, back to the games. First, I'd like to get into the Stanley Parable. This is an interesting, kind of creepy actually, one-man game. So the thing is, you are the lonesome office employee number 427, trying to escape the room and daily repetitiveness that is your life. The office complex is abandoned by all of the employees and you don't know for how long. You are the character in this instance. It, in a way, makes you feel lonely and confused too, playing on your pathos. It makes you want to get out there and make a name for your number. Anyways, to get on with it, there is a narrator who, again, plays on your emotions, making you feel like nothing and like you're pointless. You are the eyes in this game, and of Stanley. You use the controls to explore the game and wander. The game makes you feel like you have a choice in a way, and not a choice in another way also. The narrator tells you exactly where to go, and what to look at and what to do from the beginning, which then makes you wonder, should I actually be listening to this creepy man? So it makes you feel like you venture off onto your own without doing exactly what the game says. Obedience is a big topic in gaming, and it is something I would like to touch base on later.
Oh, don't give too much away. Tell us about the other one on the market, the Undertale. How is this game different, and how does it excite you?
Well, the Undertale is different in a few ways. First, you yourself are playing. You have a virtual character who is going through the actions with you. This one actually has what we call monsters that, while exploring, come on to attack you. You actually have options on what to do. Some people may fight back, some distract and run away, or actually mercy the attacker. When I play, I actually tend to compliment and talk rather than just jumping into a fight. I usually never kill, and I usually mercy, but that actually led me to get killed. It actually taught me to fight back instead of being the nice person and always getting killed. I had realized I did not have to be who I am in real life, and of course I would not kill or attack anyone, but this was a game, and I could be any kind of hero I wanted to be, which was what James Paul G had said was so enticing about these video games, is that you can be a hero in a different world and just be your own hero. I could become one with my virtual character, and I could be mean or fight or be anyone I wanted to be.
Those are some very interesting points you and G as well made. Thanks for filling us in on the games. It seems like there are many different ways to go about both of the games. Is there anything else you have for us today?
Well, I'd like to touch on two important topics, which I think are important at least. There's always the obedience in games that you are following, the narrator, and so on. I believe it's important to not always follow what you're supposed to do or what you are being told to do. I feel it's best to explore with what you are as the player and character are comfortable with and what you think your new skills and knowledge are capable of. This goes for in games and actually in life. Who knew I'd be giving life lessons? I quote from Nicholas Lavelle, being completely obedient is equivalent to being controlled by the authoritative figure. He states this in an article on the role of obedience, and you can look that up if you want to learn more about it. It's actually just the obedience in life rather than just in games, so it talks about obedience that we follow in real life. Then that makes you controlled and leaves you not really playing the game, but just following actions, which I thought was an interesting point. This is really shown in the Stanley parable. You end up feeling helpless, and in a way that is shown with Stanley himself. Another article on a game called BioShock says that we do what we are told, or we do not move on in the game. So basically, you do just that. You just do whatever the game says. The obedient role in games can sometimes be the exigence in games, which is a situation that is a problem or an issue in the game. The second and last thing I would like to touch on is that in order to get the best out of all of the games, not just these, but you have to fully become one with the game and character as a player. Interact with the game, don't just play. And again, that brings up another one of G's points on learning and interacting, and how interacting helps you become and learn much more overall. Let the controller become another part of your body, which is a term called being a cyborg, which is in G's book. Being a cyborg helps you feel like you are in the game itself, and as you can imagine, this way would be a lot more helpful in finding your own objective in the game.
Wow, I've never heard of a cyborg before, but that makes so much sense. Thank you for coming and letting us in a little part of the video gaming world. It was so nice having you today, Kirsten.
Thank you for having me.